So in this video we'll be analyzing the previous year paper of phase 2, right? So we'll pick up the paper of 2016, the second paper, that is ESI plus ARD. We have already discussed in the pattern that the phase 2 of grade A, it consists of two papers. One is English and the second is ESI plus ARD. Both are of 100 marks each. And if you are appearing for grade B as well, then there is a third paper on developmental economy, stats, finance and management. So in this video we will be picking up just one section, that is ARD, agriculture and rural development. In the next video I will also be talking about ESI. In this video we will be talking about agriculture and rural development, and we will classify the questions that were asked in the previous year in the blocks, in the syllabus blocks. So in the earlier videos you must have seen that we had classified the syllabus of ARD into around 11 blocks. So we will try to fit those questions which were asked in the previous year into these 11 categories. Let's start. So this is the agenda of this video, that we'll be discussing the examination that was held on 12th June 2016, that is last year. So we'll pick up just one section, that is ARD. So the complete paper is ESI plus ARD, worth 100 marks. We are talking about ARD only. We'll be classifying the questions into according to the syllabus blocks. So this is the syllabus as given by NABARD in the notification for agriculture and rural development. So this is the syllabus for agriculture, right? And once we classify the syllabus into blocks, these are the blocks. So we had classified the syllabus into 11 blocks, right, from 1 to 11. So 1 is dealing with agriculture, agronomy, the various agroclimatic zones, seeds and all. So like this, the second block is dealing with soils, the third is mainly dealing with irrigation, the fourth is dealing with the sources of power on the farm, the fifth block is related to plantation and horticulture, the sixth block is dealing with animal husbandry and poultry, seventh is dealing with fisheries and aquaculture, eighth is forestry, ninth is agriculture extension services, 10th is climate change, ecology, environment, and 11th block is rural areas, population, rural development schemes, etc. If we take a 12th block or block 0, right, then this part, see here, this is this part. So this part can be called the block 0. Right, present scenario of Indian agriculture, allied activities, recent trends, major challenges in agriculture, measures to enhance viability of agriculture, factors of production, agricultural finance, agricultural marketing, impact of globalization on Indian agriculture, issues of food security, concept and types of farm management. So I am taking this as block 0 or the 12th block. Fine. So let's see. If we start with the first or the 0 block, which I have already told you just now, it contains these topics: present scenario of agriculture in India, present scenario of allied activities in India, the factors of production in agriculture, topic on agricultural finance, agricultural marketing, impact of globalization on agriculture, issues of food security and farm management. So if we look at the previous year paper, first of all kindly note that it is memory based. Right, since the examination is conducted online, we don't have an actual hard copy of the examination paper. All the questions that I'll be discussing in this video are all memory based. There can be some minute errors in the questions because no one is able to remember the exact question that was asked. But it will give you a very good idea, a fair idea about what kind of preparation needs to be done to crack this examination. So let's see the questions that were asked in the previous year paper based on this block 0. So the first question was that states have recently been permitted to impose stock holding limit on. Right, so under the Essential Commodities Act, there is an act called the Essential Commodities Act. So this question is based on a news item that was in the newspaper in April 2016. Now this examination phase 2 ESI plus ARD was held in June 2016, 12th June. Right, so there was a news item in the newspaper for the month of April that to check hoarding and control prices, the center today allowed the states to fix the stock holding limit on sugar, which is ruling at over rupees 40 per kg in the retail market. So since the prices of sugar were high and there was no deficiency of stock, so the center decided to put a stock limit on the amount that a person or a distributor could hold, right, so as to cool down the prices. The cabinet chaired by PM Modi has given its approval to bring sugar under the purview of stock holding limit, keeping in view the recent uptrend in prices. So this question was based on a news item of a couple of months back. Let's see the second question. In case of unseasonal rains, farmers shall be eligible for compensation if the crop loss is at least how much? Now the answer is 33%. Now this question is based on a news item of April 2015, a good 1 month and 1 year and 2 months earlier. Right, it is not a latest news since the examination was conducted in June 2016. Now this question is based on a news item of April 2015. Right, what is the news item? That the PM Modi on Wednesday announced liberal norms for compensating farmers for their crop losses on account of unseasonal rains and instructed the insurance companies to proactively honor their claims and the banks to restructure the farm loans. The provision was that until now the farmers made it to the list of beneficiaries of disaster relief only if more than 50% of their crops had been destroyed. Now the state CMs had also demanded that this norm should be relaxed or it should be revised. As per the new norms, even if only 33% of the crop is lost, the farmer will be benefited. The farmer will get the benefit. Right, so the answer was 33% and it was based on a news item from April 2015. Fine. Third question based on block 0. What is the rate of premium to be paid by the farmer for Rabi crops under Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana? Right. So this was in the news. This scheme was launched in January 2016. The examination was conducted in June 2016. Right. So it was a question based on previous 6 months current affairs. Fine. So this is a simple question that the rate of premium to be paid by the farmer is 1.5% of the sum insured in case of Rabi crops and 2% of the sum insured in case of Kharif crops. Right. So the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, it covers Kharif crops, Rabi crops, annual commercial as well as horticultural crops. So the rate of premium is different. It is 2% for Kharif crops. The farmer's contribution is 2%. For Rabi it is 1.5%. For annual commercial and horticultural crops it is 5%. And the remaining part of the premium is to be paid equally by the central and the respective state governments. This is the news item, or this is the detail of the scheme, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, and this scheme is very important. Now let's see the questions that were asked in the previous year paper of 2016 based on block 1. Now the syllabus for block 1 is as follows: branches of agriculture, agronomy, classification of crops, the factors affecting crop production, cropping systems, crops and weather, seeds, precision farming and organic farming. Let's see the questions. The first question is Ratna is a variety of. Now the correct answer is rice. Now there are hundreds of varieties of rice, like there is Gauri, there is Gayatri, there is Moti, there are so many varieties. There are hundreds of varieties of rice and Ratna is just one variety of rice. Another question was Anna is a variety of. Now Anna is a variety of rice as well as apple. Right, so since I don't know the options that were asked, that were given in the original examination, in the last examination, so I'm not sure of the answer. But Anna is a variety of rice as well as that of an apple, right? Another question was that leaves fall off due to deficiency of which nutrient in plants? And another question was that fruits fail to develop due to deficiency of which nutrient in plants? Now when we talk about nutrients, there are primary nutrients, there are secondary nutrients, and then there are micronutrients. Now primary nutrients: nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, right? NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. So nitrogen deficiency results in stunted, spindly yellow plants or yellow leaves. Phosphorus deficiency results in slow growth and dull yellow-green foliage. And potassium deficiency results in very stunted plants with yellow or purple leaf tints. So when we come to secondary nutrients, we talk about calcium, we talk about magnesium, we talk about sulfur. So the deficiency of calcium results in distorted or irregularly shaped new leaves. Magnesium deficiency leads to shedding of leaves. Sulfur deficiency results in younger leaves turning yellow first, sometimes followed by older leaves. And we talk of micronutrients, we come to boron, copper, iron. Right, apart from manganese, molybdenum and zinc. So there are different nutrients which can be classified into primary, secondary and micro. And the deficiency of the primary nutrients results in certain things, the deficiency of secondary nutrients results in certain things, and the deficiency of micronutrients results in certain things. Right, so this question can be, see these questions, Ratna, variety, Anna, and all these 4 questions are based on core agriculture. Now they are not from current affairs or anything. They are not from current affairs. Right, so when we come to this block 1 syllabus, it is classification of crops, right, different varieties of crops. So all these questions, all these 4 questions are based on core agriculture. They are not to be found in the current affairs. Fine, please keep this in mind. and there are different nutrients, primary, secondary and micronutrients. The deficiency of each nutrient causes certain things. Let's come to block 2. Now block 2 deals with soil, the types of soil, the soil fertility, soil erosion, soil conservation, watershed management. Now since the questions that we have collected are memory based, we could not find any question on this block. Right, we are not sure that maybe one or two questions were asked from this block, but based on memory we could not find any questions on the internet or from the successful candidates that we have talked to. We could not locate any question based on this block. Let's come to block 3. Now this block consists of primarily irrigation, the sources of irrigation, the types of irrigation, the crop water requirements for different crops, the command area development and the different techniques for water conservation. Let's look at the questions. Now there was a passage on Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. Right, so there were around 2 to 3 questions on this passage, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana and its components. Now there are 3 components of Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, or we can say that 3 erstwhile schemes or earlier schemes have been merged into a umbrella program called Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. One out of them is AIBP, that is Accelerated Irrigation Benefits Program. Second is IWMP, that is Integrated Watershed Management Program, and third is Farm Water Management component of NMSA, that is National Mission on Sustainable Agriculture. So we don't know the exact questions that were asked, but what we know is that there was a passage on Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana and its components, and there were around 2 to 3 questions based on this passage. So this Yojana is important, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. So Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, these are very important schemes. Another question that was asked is, what is the water use efficiency in case of sprinkler irrigation? Now there are different techniques of irrigation, there are different types of irrigation, flood irrigation, basin irrigation, drip irrigation, sprinkler irrigation and all. Right, so this question was about water use efficiency in case of sprinkler irrigation. Another question was asked that what is the ultimate irrigation potential in India? That is, the ultimate irrigation potential in India has increased to dash million hectares. It has increased to dash million hectares. Let's see these questions. Now when we talk about irrigation efficiency, the meaning of irrigation efficiency is this: to express which percentage of irrigation water is used efficiently and which percentage is lost. Right, this is the basic meaning of efficiency, that when you are giving water to the field, that what percentage of water is being efficiently used for the growth of the plant and what percentage of water has been lost, that is not being used productively for the growth of the plant. Now when we talk about irrigation efficiency, there are 2 terms. There is conveyance efficiency and then there is field application efficiency. Now what do we mean by conveyance efficiency? It represents the efficiency of water transport in the canals. Conveyance, right? Conveyance. The efficiency of water transport. And when we talk about field application efficiency, it represents the efficiency of water application. Right? So the conveyance efficiency mainly depends on the length of the canals, the soil type or permeability of the canal banks and the condition of the canals. So the longer is the length of the canal, obviously more water will be lost. Right? If the soil is permeable, more water will be lost. In large irrigation schemes, more water is lost than in small schemes due to longer canal system. Right? So this is about conveyance efficiency. And when we see the value of field application efficiency for the different modes of irrigation, and when we talk about sprinkler irrigation, the value is 75%. So this is the field application efficiency in case of sprinkler irrigation, which goes up to 90% in case of drip irrigation. Right. Now the next question was about irrigation potential. Now when we talk about irrigation potential, there are various terms that are used. One is irrigation potential created. One is irrigation potential utilized. Now these are very important terms. IPC, that is irrigation potential created, and IPU, that is irrigation potential utilized. And the third term is ultimate irrigation potential. Right. Let's see these terms. Now when we talk about ultimate irrigation potential, it is the gross area, not the net area. The gross area that can be irrigated from a project in a design year, from the projected cropping pattern and assumed water allowance on its full development. A very important definition. See, what we are talking about is that when we talk about the term ultimate irrigation potential, we are talking about potential. It is not the actual thing. We are talking about the potential. Now the definition is that it is the gross area that can be irrigated. It is not that it is being irrigated. It is the potential that can be irrigated from a project in a design year. that in a one particular year for the projected cropping pattern, because the amount of water required will depend on the cropping pattern of that area. So if we are taking a particular cropping pattern or the projected cropping pattern, then the water requirement will be fixed. So if we take that water requirement into consideration, then the gross area that can be irrigated from that project in a particular year, assuming water allowance on its full development, is called ultimate irrigation potential. Right? Now there is a huge difference between the potential and the actual utilization. So the irrigation potential created is a different thing and the irrigation potential utilized is a different story. Now when we talk about irrigation potential created, it is to be ensured that water is available for the area to be irrigated in each season during a complete irrigation year. Conveyance system is available to carry the water. The projected cropping pattern of the region is satisfactorily adhered to. So when all these three conditions are fulfilled and satisfied, then we can say that the irrigation potential has been created. Right? This implies that irrigation potential created denotes full utilization. If the area actually irrigated is smaller than the potential created, it denotes underutilization. Thus irrigation utilization is percentage of actual irrigated area to the potential created. So it is not necessary that if you create the potential, it will be 100% utilized. If you are not able to provide any of these three things, then you are underutilizing the potential that was created through the irrigation scheme. Right? So there are different terms. Now if we talk about the ultimate irrigation potential, at the time of independence it was 22.6 million hectare only. Right? Now when we talk about the after years, that is after independence, now from the major and medium irrigation schemes, depending on the cultivable command area or the cultivable command area, the ultimate irrigation potential major and medium is 58.5. From minor irrigation, the ultimate potential is 81.4 and the total ultimate potential is 139.9 million hectares. Now this data is I think for 2013-14. I could not find the latest data on the website or on the in the reports of the annual ministries and all. So I am taking this data that the ultimate irrigation potential in India is 139.9 million hectare. Again I am repeating, it does not mean that this much area is being irrigated. It is a potential. Now if we provide all the three things that we have discussed earlier, then that potential can be 100% utilized. Right? Fine. So these are the questions that were asked. These questions. Fine. One was on Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchay Yojana, one was on water use efficiency in case of sprinkler irrigation, and one was on ultimate irrigation potential for India. I have told you the concepts as well. Let's move on. Now once we come to the block 4. Now syllabus for block 4 is the sources of power on the farm, the different water harvesting structures, agro processing or food processing, and storage, godowns, bins, silos, etc. Let's see the question that was asked. Now this question was asked in the previous examination, that what is the sanctioned limit for loans to food processing sector to be considered under PSL under the new RBI norms. PSL stands for Priority Sector Lending under the new RBI norms. Now the origin of this question lies in the changes that were made to the PSL norms by RBI in 2015. Right, so then this examination was conducted in June 2016 and the changes were made in 2015. Right, so what changes were made? These categories were included in the PSL categories. These three additional categories were included. One was medium enterprises, second was social infra, and the third was renewable energy. And secondly, a separate target for small and marginal farmers, 7.5%, and micro enterprises 8%, and weaker sections 10%. And inclusion of food and agro processing units under agriculture are the major changes that were made. So if a bank has to carry out 40% PSL of its adjusted net bank credit, that is A and BC, out of this 40%, 18% is to be devoted to agriculture. Right, so as per the changes that were made in 2015, food agro processing units were included under the main heading of agriculture. Let's see further. Now when we talk about the question, that is the what is the amount of loan, then we have to see that what amount of loan, that what is the limit up to which the loan provided to the food processing unit can be classified as PSL. Now this I have found from the RBI website, that loans, kindly read the third point, loans for food and agro processing up to an aggregate sanction limit of rupees 100 crore per borrower from the banking system can be classified as PSL under the agriculture category under the PSL. Right, agriculture category. So the answer should be rupees 100 crore. Fine. Now let's come to block 5. Now block 5 is dealing with plantation and horticulture, and once we look at the memory based questions, we could not find any questions based on this block. Now the block 6 is dealing with the role of animals and animal husbandry, classification of breeds, poultry industry, mixed farming, and based on memory we could not find any questions based on this block also. 7th block is on fisheries and aquaculture, again no questions based on memory. Block 8, although this was a very important block that it deals with forestry and the state of forest report and the recent developments in the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, we could not find any questions based on memory on this block as well. Now the 9th block is based on agriculture extension, that is the role of Krishi Vigyan Kendras, and one question was asked on this block, that is when was the first KVK set up. Now this is a simple basic question that it was set up in 1974 at Pondicherry. Right. So if we see the history of the Krishi Vigyan Kendras, we can see that based on the recommendations of the Education Commission, review by the Planning Commission and Interministerial Committee, and further recommendations by the committee headed by Dr. Mohan Singh Mehta, appointed by ICAR in 1973. The idea of establishment of Farm Science Center, or in Hindi it is called Krishi Vigyan Kendra, was evolved, and the first one was set up in 1974 at Pondicherry. Fine, this question was asked in the last year paper. If you look at the block 10, it deals with ecology, environment, the greenhouse gases, IPCC, UNFCCC, COP meetings, and the various initiatives by Government of India to combat climate change. Now the question that was asked in the previous year was, first question was that which agency has been designated as NIE, that is National Implementing Entity for implementation of projects under National Adaptation Fund for Climate Change. Now the correct answer is NABARD. Now this was in the news in August 2015. This is a news item that the government has established the National Adaptation Fund on climate change with the budget provision of this much, with an estimated requirement of this much. The objective of the fund is to assist the state and UTs that are particularly vulnerable to the adverse effects of climate change. Now the National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, that is NABARD, has been appointed as the NIE responsible for implementation of the projects under NAFCC. This is the news item. So this was one question. Another question that was asked from this block was, to access funding, IRDEA, that is Renewable Development Energy Agency, may be converted to what? The answer is a green bank. So this is a news item from the month of May 2016, that a green bank could offer lower interest charges than traditional banks and tap into international capital to finance the renewable energy projects like solar and wind projects. Right, and the state-run Indian Renewable Energy Development Agency might be converted into a green bank to enable it to access funding from overseas banks. So this news item is from the month of May, and this question was asked in the month of June in the paper. Another question that was asked from this block is that where is the headquarter of IUCN located? Right, it is in Gland, Switzerland. Simple question. Now once we come to the 11th block, the 11th block is dealing with the rural development. So out of ARD rural development, we have picked up one block. We have devoted one block to the syllabus of rural development, and these are the components of the syllabus. That what is the concept of rural area, what is the composition and trends in the rural population, what are the problems of rural labor, what are the issues in handlooms, about PRIs, that is Panchayati Raj institutions, about NREGA, NRLM, Ajivika, the various programs for rural development, rural credit system, and the role and functions of RBI, NABARD, SIDBI, etc. in carrying out rural development. Now let's see the questions. Now one question that was asked from this block was that under NRLM, that is National Rural Livelihoods Mission. Please note that this mission is now a subset of Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana. Right, so NRLM as well as NULM, they are now subsets of Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana. Under NRLM, there is a provision of a revolving fund to be provided to a self-help group for the purpose of strengthening their institutional capacity. The amount to be provided under this fund is how much? Now this is the information about the revolving fund, that NRLM would be providing a revolving fund support to self-help groups to the tune of rupees 10,000 and up to a maximum of 15,000 per self-help group. So this is the answer. Right, let's see another question, that there was one question on which of one of the following factors hinders rural electrification. There was another question, in fact there were two questions based on the socio-economic and caste census. That is, the first question was the total number of rural households as per SCCC and the number of people engaged in manual scavenging as per SCCC. Again, both are factual questions and based on current affairs. There was another question, that which of the following schemes has been launched for providing 100% village electrification. Now it is Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gram Jyoti Yojana. Now another question was that as per RBI, marginal farmer is one who has what amount of land holding. Now as per RBI, farmers with a land holding of up to 1 hectare are considered as marginal farmers. There was another question on which committee was formed to review the lead bank scheme. Now there was a Usha Thorat committee, I think it was set up in 2009 to review the lead bank scheme. Now these are the questions that were asked in the previous year paper based on block 11. Now see, we have discussed all the questions, almost all the questions that were asked. Now we have to see the key takeaways, that what have you learned from the type of questions that were asked in the previous year paper. The first thing that can be noted is that there are very few questions that were asked from the core agriculture. There were just 4 questions. Ratan is a variety of, Anna is a variety of, which nutrient deficiency leads to falling off of leaves, right? So very few questions were asked from core agriculture topics, and maximum number of questions were current affairs based. Be it on Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, be it on Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, all these questions are current affairs based, and the correct sources or the most important sources to be read. One is Kurukshetra magazine, newspaper, the economic survey, budget, government schemes, agriculture ministry report, NABARD annual report, Ministry of Rural Development annual report, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change annual report. Now all these reports will carry the news items or the items based on current affairs and will be very useful for your preparation. Now you have to cover the current affairs for 1 year. Now generally for banking examinations you cover the current affairs for 3 to 6 months prior to the examination, but for NABARD, in order to be safe, very safe, you have to cover the current affairs of the previous 1 year. So if the examination is conducted this year in the month of say September 2017, then you have to start from September 2016 and cover the current affairs up till August 2017. Right, so you have to cover the current affairs for 1 year. You don't have to carry out a PhD, or you don't have to go very detailed analysis of all the topics. You don't have to carry out a very detailed analysis. You don't have to do PhD of all the topics. The maximum focus should be on the general current happenings. So if you are following these sources, that is Kurukshetra, Yojana, newspaper, economic survey, budget, schemes, agriculture ministry reports and the annual reports of all the good ministries, that is Ministry of Rural Development, by good I mean which are relevant for our examination, that is Ministry of Rural Development, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, then you are more than covered. You don't have to go into the minute analysis of each and every topic. This is our website by the name of edutap.co.in. We have launched the NABARD course. We have covered the various reports that I have been talking about, the Yojana, the Kuruksetras, the economic survey, budget, government schemes, the various annual reports, right? We have framed MCQs on all these reports, which will be highly helpful for NABARD examination. This is our YouTube channel, and these are our email IDs. You can drop us a mail on any of these IDs. If you have any query, you can also call us at this number. Our number is 8146-207-241. If you have any query, kindly give us a call. We'll be happy to assist you. Thank you so much.